Okay, let's do this. I don't have any eyeshadow on, but I do have like eyeliners, eyebrows, eyelash, all that stuff, because today we are mostly trying lips and blushes and, you know, base products. There's nothing going on to the eyes. Firstly, we have these two concealer palettes. One is this TFIT. TFIT? Is that how you pronounce this? And I have this in the shade. It doesn't have a number. The like relatively shade name like sort of thing is hashtag deep beige, natural beige, and peachy beige, which I feel like it's just the shade name of these three colors. So yeah, this color is what I have. And I also have this Luna Conceal Blend palette, and I have shade 01 clear cover. So this one is more diverse in color because you can see like salmon color, like light pink, green, and also beigey type stuff. But this one only have peach and 2 beige shade. I'm thinking to use a puff to apply this. And I have this little puff that I feel like is really interesting. It's from the brand T-Mage. This is a C Beauty brand, but I got gifted this like with order, and this is a double-sided puff. How clever is that? I hope all puffs are like this, so it's not like only one side you can use. You can use both sides, right? Yeah, I think this is really clever, but I'm thinking which one should I use for, how to say, the overall, because I'm not planning to use foundation, so this is gonna be the whole base for me. Maybe let's try one for half of the face, and you know, we got 2 sides, so one for each side. Maybe let's start with Luna. I actually have swatched all of this in another video. It's like a unboxing haul type of video. So if you want to swatch, you want to watch a swatch and stuff, you can go watch that video. But I'm thinking I want to use this green, almost olive shade to cancel some redness. That's the thing that I do have a lot. So around my nose. Oh, it's covering pretty well. It just, my skin is a bit dry today, so I got to push it in extra careful. But can you tell the redness is instantly gone? I think you can see here, like I didn't reach for this little area, so it's still red, but other than this part, it's all covered. Let's get a little bit more to hit this part, and you can see it's pretty much gone, right? I think I need a little bit more moisture. My face is a little dry. This is just a Japanese brand mist that I often use to rehydrate my face. Okay, now let's do this again. It's covering the redness really nice. Pretty nice. And here. And I like that this green still got some beigey tone to it, so it's not like your skin looks green after you applied it, right? Yeah, it's all covering pretty nicely. So now I'm gonna heat this area in between my eyebrows. It's pretty nice there as well. Yeah, I really like this thing. I want to use this deeper like salmon shade to brighten some discoloration. I mostly have it here, as you can see. Again, it covers pretty nicely. Oh, I like this palette. Now let's use the beige color. I feel like this type of palette always look a little bit darker than it actually is on your skin. So I'm just gonna use this color. This color looks, it's gonna be too dark for me. But let's see. I am, for reference, I'm light medium with warm olive undertone. So maybe let's just be generous with this shade. Yeah, I feel like it's just the right color for me, right? It's not like too dark or anything. It's, again, just the right shade. And despite me hydrating my face multiple times, I don't think this product is drying. It's actually a right consistency. It's not like super oily, greasy type of like loose type of concealer. It's pretty solid. But at the same time, it's not drying. It's not cleaning on the dry patches. It doesn't look cakey or anything. I think I want to... Do I use this light shade? I think I have to hold it in this angle for you to see the actual color, because this way it just all look pale. So this way, do I touch this color? Maybe a little bit around the eye area. I'm a little bit dark on this area. So here, I guess. I do feel like this shade is not for me. It's a little bit too light and cool toned pinky. I need warmth in a shade, but it's not terrible. I just feel like normally if I wasn't, you know, trying to demonstrate this color, I wouldn't normally reach for it. And I feel like this shade just instantly make my under eye heavy. A shade that's too light for you will emphasize the texture. The too dark shades normally don't do that. It's just the too light shade. And this shade is too light and it's instantly emphasizing the texture there, and you cannot see that. I think this side is looking pretty nice. It looks more brightened than this side, but it's not like too light for me. I still think it's the like matches my neck, right? So switching path, let's use this side. This side, it doesn't really have like a corrector type thing, so I think I'm just gonna use this shade to correct the neck darkness, and this one, not darkness, redness, and this one on the discoloration spot, and this one overall. So that's the plan. Can you see it? This shade looks pretty dark on the pan, but on my face it's instantly lighter, right? So don't be like over or underestimate this shade. It's always gonna look lighter on your skin. This type of pot concealer. This feels way different than the Luna one. I feel like, I don't know if you can see, but it looks way chunkier on the skin. I don't know if I like that. Let's hydrate my face a little bit. To see, can I push this one out? Because I didn't use that much either. It's not like I used a lot. This one might not be, you know, good for a large area. I feel like this one has way more coverage, but it's too thick to use on a larger area. This probably is like mostly for spot concealing, the peachy color. But I feel like if you include a peachy color, it just means it's just gonna use on a larger area, right? Who pinpoint conceal their spots with a peachy colored concealer, right? It's mostly used for large area. Well, this peachy one doesn't look too chunky. I don't know, do they have different formulas in this like same little palette? Let's use the darkest shade, which it looks hella dark in the pan. And pat on basically just everywhere else. And I think you can tell it's not too dark at all, it just melts into my skin, you can't even see it. I think I should be spraying onto this sponge rather than on my face. It's more effective that way. Yeah, with hydrating the little pad, it works way better. Is it just that one shade? Because the other two shades doesn't seem to be too chunky for the whole face. It actually looks pretty nice. And I don't know if you can tell, this side is more of a beigey color than this side. You might not be able to tell, but in real life, this side has like more of a yellowness to it. So it's actually better for my skin tone. I do like both of this, I just feel like this one is thicker. And this one, even though it still has good coverage, is a little bit less than that one, and it's thinner and less emphasized on the dry patch. But let's do some spot concealing, which I normally don't do. But for the review purposes, let's do a little bit of spot concealing. I'm using the darkest shade. And I have a couple spots right now. Maybe cover this one with the TFIT concealer. It's pretty much gone, right? Like there's a little bit peeking through, but it's not like very visible. And let's do the other side with the Luna one and switching the puff. And we are using the darkest shade as well. And we are covering this one. Again, I don't really bother to cover these little spots on a daily basis, but it's covering. I feel like the TFIT one still probably has a little bit more coverage, but this coverage isn't bad either. Okay. That's it for the concealer. For blushes, we have endless, truly endless choices. We have, oh, how many? We have 6. Is that 6 or 7? Oh, we have 6. I don't know how we end up here, but let's just do this one by one. First of all, let's try this Nuse. Is that the brand pronounced Nuse? I think it's a sister brand to the brand Romand. So first, let's try this one. It's gonna link down below, but the shade is 07, and it's a like berry shade, but it's pretty sheer, so it's not like it's nothing to worry about. Like as you can tell, it's pretty sheer. Even on my hand, it's like once I spread it out, there's not much color to it. But I feel like it's enough color on your cheeks, right? Like I feel like this is enough color for me. And maybe I can even layer it more. For some people this might be like too sheer, especially if you have like a deeper skin tone. But I personally love this level of color, and see the glow is very beautiful. Oh, I love this color. I should have tried this blush sooner. It's been sitting on the pile for a little while, but yeah, I love this one. And we have 2 of the other ones. These 2 are actually, I think, the same line. This one is just they did like easy to carry on type of like new packaging, and it's like smaller of a quantity in it. This one is in the shade 03, and this one is 04, and it's appley, I think the shade name. And on this one, because I bought this from a Japanese website, it does have a name on it. It's a mousse care cheek. So these green little ones are this name, under this name. And let's swatch the shade 3. It's a more of a peachy shade, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's more pigmented than the purple cap, the lavender cap. So now let's try it. Yeah, instantly more color, and it's way more matte. Like you can see it's nowhere near this glow that it gives, right? I feel like it's pretty much dried down at this point. Yeah, it's way more pigmented and way more matte. Because this side is like basically matte, I think I can cover this color with some powder and apply the next color on top. And I think that way you can also tell how it applies on a powdered skin, right? It's not completely covered, but we're just gonna have to do it this way. And this shade 04, it's a pinky reddish shade. Yeah, now you can see the shade. It's like a very bright pink. Let's see how it looks on the cheeks. Whoa. This looks intense. I didn't need that much at all. This is crazy. Like, it's good to show you the color and the pigmentation, but at the same time I'm terrified of this this color. I do feel like the edge is not totally blended, right? You can see that. So I feel like it's probably not gonna work if you fully powder your skin like how I did. And I feel like it's probably still okay if your face is just like mildly powdered. It's gonna work, but yeah, for this type of like super powdered face, it's not gonna blend super seamlessly. Like you can see all of this unblended lines. But we still have 3 to go. I think I can just remove all I had on both cheeks and start over. Okay, quickly redid my concealer. I didn't do much. I basically just took the darkest shade, but with this side I did use a little bit of the green because I found just the darkest shade, it wasn't enough coverage to cover the redness. And that's it. Let's go on to the next one. Why did I say it like that? The next one. The brand feev, F-E-E-V. It's a My Besties Hyper Fit Color Serum. Is the color My Besties? And the name is Hyper Fit Color Serum? I don't know. It's a pretty runny formula. It kind of feels like this one. And it's this beautiful bright orange type shade. And I'm applying kind of a lot. It looks pretty nice, and it actually is pretty similar. Feels pretty similar to the Nuse purple one. It's the similar level of sheen, like the glowiness on your cheek, and the similar pigmentation. I like this one as well. And I kind of now understand why they give you such a big amount of blush, because you do need to apply a lot to have the color shows on your skin. But I do like this. I think it's pretty beginner friendly. because you can't really apply too much, literally. Like you see me apply that much and it blends pretty effortlessly. And the next one, this is the Blend Berry Face Gloss in the shade 002 Fig. It's this corally shade, so I think it might be just a similar shade to the other one. Well, it's way more pinkier, but you know, it's a coral. And I'm just gonna apply with my finger. And again, this one feels more matte, and I feel like it's a little bit hard to apply with your finger. Let me grab a brush. Yeah, I feel like with the brush, this one is way easier to apply. So not good for applying with your finger. This formula particular, it's a pretty shade, right? It's a pretty shade. And I'm gonna set my face here because the next one we're gonna apply, it's a powder blush. And we're gonna lightly apply on top of these two shades. And I understand that's probably not a great way to, you know, analyze the form, like the full color, but we're gonna have to do it that way. I think with the two sides in comparison, you still can tell the color pretty well. So this is from the brand Glint. It's their baked blush in the shade 05 Strawberry Smoke. Okay, it's a pretty intense shade. It kind of looks similar to the other blush we just used, but in the pan it's pretty different. So the true test is gonna be how it looks on your face, right? Don't grab too much product. Can you tell? Can you tell the little pinkness it added? It's nice. It's nice, but it really is pigmented. I just lightly stabbed this in the pan and I tap it off on my palm. And this one is one of those like stippling brush, so it's like not very dense at all. So it can't pick up too much product and it still showed up pretty well. So be careful with this formula. I'm really blushed today. Normally this camera is not very good to pick up blush colors, but I think you can see my blush very well today. So the blushes, the blush section is done, but we still have one more cheek product. It's a highlight. It's a highlighting balm. It's from the brand ByUR, and this is the glow stick serum fit volumizing, or is it serum fit volumizing glow stick? It's so confusing, this packaging. Like, you read this brand name this way, right? And you got to be like this and read this line, and you got to, you know, turn it back to this way and read this line. It's like all not aligned with each other. I don't know why they decide to do it that way. Is there their branding? Because, you know, the brand ByUR, the Y, it's like facing a different direction, right? Maybe the confusing layout is just their branding. And I have the shade Mellow, and this is a highlighting stick, but it got a little bit of color, this orangey type of color. But again, it's just a highlight. I think this is not pigmented enough to be a blush. Like a blush topper type of balm highlight, I think. Since we set the blush, and I think it's really a test, does this, like, you know, mess with your base makeup? Why is it suddenly so bright? I think it looks pretty nice, right? It looks pretty smooth. It doesn't really mess with the base makeup I have on. And you can still see the color. So I feel like if you're pale enough, this could be just a blush for you. But for me, this is mostly just gonna be a highlight or, you know, at the most a blush topper. It's pretty nice. I feel like this just has similar level of glowiness to the blushes like this one or the feev one. It's the same type of like glowy, dewy type of look. It's like there probably is shimmer in this, but the finish you cannot tell the shimmer. Now we are going into lips and we have quite a lot to test. Actually 6 glosses and tints and stuff and 1 lip liner. And these are all products that I haven't, not products, like brands that I haven't tried before. Okay, first let's try this thing. This is the 100% Dote on Mood Lip Pencil. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this name right, like Dote or Dote. I don't know. It's kind of weird that they spell it in that way. Do they have like a sharpener here? No. It's a like very dull type of tip, so if you want precision, definitely this is not for you. But for me, I like a blurred lip line. So, oh, maybe let's swatch here first. It's like a pinky nude, which is all I use. Like, I only use nudy shades. Very smooth, very smooth. We're gonna leave this for a bit and test how like budge proof or long wearing it is, but I feel like for K-Beauty, their lip liner is rarely like super budge proof or long wearing or something like that. Okay, I think this look pretty nice. I like this color as well. And I also feel like if you are one of those people that you like grab a lip pencil and you run over your whole lip, this one could be good because it's like thicker, so you wouldn't have to, you know, try as hard. Wiping that off a little bit, let's try the other ones. I think I'm gonna try the gloss first. The gloss is from 100% as well. I bought these as glosses to top other lip colors. That's why I bought this type of like weird color. So this one is like a mustardy, orangey, like a burnt orange brown shade, and this is like a true cool toned, like purpley brown. So I feel like if something I want it to be like more muted and not as bright, I can like layer this one on top, and something that I wanted to be like warmer and has some depth, I could use this one. That's my plan. So let's try this one first. Let's see what this is. It doesn't really have a name. It's a shade 01. So all the names you can find in the description box. So, and the applicator, it's a silicone paddle thing, which I actually weirdly kind of prefer this type because it's easier to clean. I feel like weirdly it's like more sanitizing. I don't know, I felt that way. And it's pretty like flexible. It feels like a little bit mentholy. Like I can smell them, like it smells like a toothpaste. And on the lips, it looks way more nude than it is, right? It looks like a nude. But it's a nice color, it's a nice color. It feels more like lip oil. It's not like a super thick lip gloss type of texture. It's really thinner, like a lip oil. Different shade than I expected, but yeah, it's pretty nice. This shade is, oh my god, this shade is so dark I can't even see what's printed on. 03, the shade 03. Yeah, this one is definitely more gray, purpley gray. Can you tell the purpley gray hue to it? Like, this is low-key a little bit like goth type of thing. I like this shade. I actually prefer to have something like this that I can layer on some other stuff to like customize the shade that I want, because normally a lot of lip products I find it to be too bright and too orange in a way, so this type of color can neutralize the tone. And why am I so bright? Is it normal now? Now I have it on a little bit longer. I feel like it's less like toothpaste. It's more like those mentally little candy that you eat to refresh your breath, if you know what I'm talking about. Like those, or like gum to chew to refresh your breath. Like it feels like those. And I don't hate this. So as long as the scent or the taste can be linked into some type of food, you know, something you eat, I don't find it as disgusting. The one that I despise is the one that it doesn't taste or smell like food. So with this, like a menthol, like minty type of taste and smell, I don't really mind. It just feels like natural around the lips. I think the rest are all tints. This one is surely a tint. This one might be a gloss. It doesn't have shade name. And these two are also tint as well. Let's try the nuse one first. Okay, this one is in the shade 5. This is such a pretty shade. It's a like cool toned mauve shade, but it's not too cool. I sometimes feel like when mauve is too purple and gray, it doesn't really work on my olive skin tone. But this one definitely works. I think it might just because it's sheer. It's pretty sheer, right? Like on the back of my hand, you see it like pretty pigmented, but on the lips it's pretty sheer. Really pretty sheer. And this really feels more like a gloss rather than a tint. Okay, let's see how this liner is. Oh, I'm mixing it with the tint accidentally. But before the tint messed this one up, I feel like it was pretty budge proof. Left a tiny little tint, so I think it mostly just a gloss. Let's put this swatch back on. Even though I think I already confirmed that it has staying power, but okay, we only have 3 tints left, and let's go with this one first. I really haven't tried anything from this brand, a Muse, and this brand I feel like they have quite a little bit buzz recently, since they have collaborated with Won Young. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right, but Korean idol Won Young, I think. So it's since their collaboration that I you know, more interested about this brand. And this is their Just Dew tint, and I have the shade 03 Healthy Buksonga. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Buksonga. A swatch first. A pinky nudy type of shade. And it looks more peachy on the lips. It's nice. It's that type of tint that it doesn't have much body to it, but it is pretty, like it has some level of shine, but it's like on the thinner side. And I do like this color. I think this color goes well with the blushes today. And I feel like the concealer has been rubbing off around my mouth, but that's inevitable. And I feel like this one has gone darker, as a lot of lip tint do. So this one does that as well. I think it's much lighter like a couple seconds ago, and it left a little bit of tint. I think you could tell, right? Pinky type of tint, but it's not like those very ugly pink, those like color changing tint left you. Wiping off this swatch, you can see the tint. This is from the brand ByUR. This brand actually has existed for like so long. I think as long as, you know, Korean beauty like has been popular. And this is their low tint. I think low just means the water in French. I've been learning French on Duolingo, so I know this. So I think it should be a watery formula, right? And the first I'm gonna try is the shade 01 Gardenia Low. So Gardenia, the water. The shade name doesn't really make sense, but okay, it's a peachy shade, like more peachy than the last one. And yeah, it does feel like water. It's way more orange on my lips. Well, I think it was pretty orange, but from this like packaging, because it's this type of like foggy type of packaging, you are gonna think it's like a way more muted and nudy, but it's pretty bright. It's like this orangey type of tint, and I think it's gone darker. Can you tell? I think it's gone darker. It's gone more red than it was. And let's wipe this off. Yeah, I think it tinted my lip a little bit more orangey. And you can see this tint on my hand as well. Way more orangey. And this one is Fleur Low, which I think is pretty weird. I think I point this out when I was unboxing this like in a big Korean beauty haul. That one, Gardenia, it's a flower name, right? And then the shade name is Fleur, which just means flower. It's pretty weird. It's like naming one shade banana and naming the other shade fruit, right? Like, why this one is called flower when the other ones are actual flower names? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I'm making this way bigger of a deal than it is. It's just a shade name. And again, this is the shade number 2. It's way more cooler toned of a pink. And it's way darker of a shade. It looks more red on the lips. Like it almost looks a little bit purple, but it's still it's red. It's a reddish pink. Can't put my finger on it, but yeah, I think it's like a shade of an apple almost, or like strawberry red. I think that's the right like description, like a strawberry red. It's pretty nice. I like this shade. I don't think I have a lot of this type of shade in my collection, and this is a pretty color. And this one is very, very tint. Like it tinted my lips like a lot, but I do like this shade. And let's show you the tint here. I mean, it's hard to tell. It almost looks similar to this one, which is the one from the Mousse. It is from Mousse, right? I do feel like on the lips it looks a little bit different. This one is like more of a reddish tone. Now my lip is like fully tinted. Let's give it a little bit shape. This lip liner is so smoothly. Okay, now I have a little bit more shape. Which one should I layer on top. I almost feel like the tint just look pretty great on itself, but let's layer this darker shade. I feel like that orangey shade might ruin this color. Can you tell how different it is, like with and without? With this gloss, it just instantly make the color more muted and not as bright, right? I don't know how long wearing this is though, but it's a very comfortable gloss. It's not sticky at all. And now let's again try the how, you know, smudge proof this liner is. I think you can tell it does smudge away a little bit, but there's still products pretty like stick on your skin pretty nicely. Okay, that's everything we want to try today. Let's do a quick round up. So first of all, these two concealer palettes. This one, I think it's definitely more for spot concealing. You can use it like on larger area as well. Just remember to use like some sort of a dampened puff. When the puff is dry, it looked heavy, but the coverage is like super high. I think this is one of the most high cover concealer I've used. So yeah, if you want like a high cover concealer and you don't mind this to be on a little bit on the drying side, because I feel like sometimes if you want more coverage, that's kind of how, you know, how things is gonna go for you. It's just gonna be more drying. And if you want more like a dewy, more hydrating type of formula, it's just gonna be less coverage. I think it's just generally how things is gonna be. But I don't hate this one. I just feel like I got to be careful when I use this. And this Luna one, I actually liked this one better, because normally I don't really prefer super high coverage stuff. And this concealer, I feel like it's still high coverage because it's a concealer, it's not a foundation. But considering, you know, in the range of a full coverage concealer, this is on the sheer side. So I feel like on the daily usage, this one is easier because I don't have to think too much about is this gonna look heavy? Because it's going on way thinner than this one. So I really like this one way better. And I don't really, like I said, I don't really care about covering like those little spots. I feel like we are all human. If I have a spot, I have a spot. But sometimes I do prefer to cover the redness, because I feel like, especially on the cheeks, with the redness, your blush looks like a different color, right? So sometimes I prefer to cover those. And this one definitely can, you know, do that for me. Especially this green. It might not look like that on the camera, because the camera always make everything a little bit cooler toned. But in real life, this one has a little bit olive undertone, so it has beige in it. It won't make your face look like super green. It has a little bit green tint to it. But yeah, it got beige into it as well, so it's not like, again, super green. You could definitely apply a light layer of this green on the area that's, you know, you have redness, without it being, oh, you have green here. Like, it's still gonna look normal. And I also loved these like beigey shade along with this shade as well. It all works pretty well. It's just this shade is too light for me. I don't think I could never get used to this one. Unless I use it as like eyeshadow primer. I don't know. I think, yeah, I will just use this for shade. The shade probably only gonna work from like light to light medium skin tone. I don't know how this is gonna work on super fair skin tone, because I feel like it's gonna be too dark for that. Other than this two shade, Even these two shades, I feel like this one could be too dark for fair skin tone. I don't know. If you're anywhere darker than me, I feel like these are not gonna be used, you know, in a larger area. Like if you are true medium skin, I feel like this is just gonna be too light. All of the blushes, we're gonna put it in cut green. These two are those sheer, like glossy type of blush. So if you don't really want your blush to be too pigmented that you have to worry about using too much, I think this could be good for you. And they are like very shiny. Not very shiny, like very dewy. So if you don't like that, maybe don't reach for these. It's not obnoxiously glowy. It's like still a normal glow, like you just applied skincare type of glow. And also I feel like this is not too little of a color. I still see the color on my face, because sometimes I feel like when it's too sheer, it just looks like, did you even like apply anything? What's the point of even buying it if it just looks like nothing on your face? This is definitely not nothing. But one thing I have to emphasize is I bought super bright colors, right? You see that natural pigmentation with these super freaking bright colors. So imagine if you buy a very like light shades, like a very natural shades, it might be a different story. It might be just water on your face. So yeah, the shade selection is gonna be pretty hard on this type of thing if you are not super fair. So yeah, like that's why I bought super bright shades, because I imagined this is what's gonna happen. Buy the shades darker or brighter than you think. These two are the same formula, right? Actually, I like the purple cap way better than these, because I find these dry down a little bit too quick. I think maybe a brush could be way better than applied with your finger or like a sponge. But I feel like this is very liquidy. The sponge might just soak up like a lot of it. So I think maybe brush is a move here. Yeah, I think next time I'm gonna try to apply with a brush rather than just using my finger. But again, this formula is way more pigmented than the other one. So if you want a more pigmented formula, this is for you. And also it's way matte. It doesn't really make your makeup matte. How to say? It doesn't add any texture. So if your skin is glowy, then it's still gonna be glowy. But if your skin is matte, after this dried down, it's gonna be turned back to the matte finish. You know, some influencers will just like do this on their cheek. Definitely don't do that with this formula, okay? It's just gonna dry it up on your cheek. So definitely put on the back of your hand and use a brush if you want this. This Blend Berry blush, the packaging is actually very flimsy, like there's no weight to this whatsoever. These ones are super well made. It's like super heavy and feels like kind of luxury in a way. But this one, I don't think this packaging worth the money. I think this is more than $10, this little thing. And there's only for like 2.5 grams, which is still plenty. But yeah, I feel like this packaging wise, it feels like dollar store type of quality. So I'm not very pleased with this packaging. But the formula wise, I think it's pretty nice. It's again a matte formula. So if you want a dewy blush, this one is not it. This Blend Berry face gloss, it says it's face gloss. What is screaming gloss to you, to this finish? There's isn't an inch of gloss to this, like especially compared to this actual face glossy type of thing. Like this is completely matte. Why call it face gloss? It's even in the pen, like there's not in an inch of gloss in here. This is a matte cream blush. Don't be fooled by this name. I feel like this is great. With applying with a brush, it worked great. I feel like this is probably just something to do with the matte finish. When it's matte, it's probably better to apply with a brush or a sponge rather than your finger. But yeah, I don't hate this one. I do like the formula, but at the same time, it might not be my favorite blush from Glint. Despite being a Korean blush, it's super pigmented. So I feel like if you are a darker skin, I think this one could be work on you. And when I was shopping from this formula, I remember their shade range to be pretty big. I feel like if your skin tone is not like East Asian skin tone, you are like a lot darker, maybe I think this one could be work for you. Like you maybe can find some shade that's dark enough and don't have the very like white base to it, like a lot other East Asian brands has. Like I think you can see this one doesn't really have that much of white base like at all, especially from this angle. It's pretty much like a berry type of blush. It's very pigmented, like almost eyeshadow level, and it has like a tiny little bit of a sheen. But I think I could use this more to form my final thoughts. But for right now, I don't hate this one. I'm not gonna be like just done with the review. This is just a first impression. I think I'm gonna do a more in-depth Korean beauty, K-beauty blushes type of video, and I think eventually I'm gonna do a video on like all East Asian beauty blushes. So that's gonna be when I use this way more and form my final thoughts. But for right now, I think most of these blushes I do like. Highlighting balm, it's a highlighting balm. Like it's, you know, the finish is pretty nice and the color is pretty cute as well. It's like this orangey type of like sunburn type of highlight. So if you want a little bit color to your face but you don't really apply blush, I think this could be good for you. It does add some like sun-kissed type of orangey tone to it, but it's not like too much color. My only complaint is like look at how little is this. The other balms I get are like all have like way more products, even though I don't know how much is in there, but it's like a lipstick size, right? The other ones I bought, they're all like way bigger and they're cheaper. I have nothing to complain about the formula. It's just the price. I feel like it's a little high. This brand ByUR, it's like on the little bit more expensive side of K-beauty. Okay, now going on to lips. This gloss, like I said, I think it's pretty nice. It's high shine. It's a pretty sheer color, so it's good for like a corrector type of color lip gloss. And I do like this packaging. It's like nail polish and it's nice. It doesn't taste weird. It doesn't really smell weird. It's just minty, mentholy type of thing. And high shine. It's not sticky. It feels like a oil. And I don't think it's like it looks super drippy or anything. It's not bleeding outside of my lip line either. So I like these, like very typical good lip gloss. I think what's special about these is just the color. I like this color that I could be correcting other products with, right? And same brand, this hard percent lip pencil in the shade 13, Bare Lips. I like this one. I don't mind to have this like round tip. I don't need much precision with my lip at all. And it does have like some staying power, like you saw me like smudge with it. It's not like super budge proof, but it's good enough for me because I'm gonna smudge it a little bit anyways. I don't really like a very crisp lip line. This one I'm skeptical. I think this is probably more of a gloss. The packaging is super cute. It's bulky though. It's very bulky, but I like this packaging. And I like the color too. It's a like a very typical gloss. It's like pretty thin. It's not super shiny, but the color is cute. Giving the packaging is cute too. I wouldn't say I don't recommend it, but also it's not special. It's like a typical lip gloss that is not offensive. And these three, I feel like this is a formula that's between lip tint that just put down color and a lipstick that's also like act like a gloss. This is in between of those. It's not like only color and no texture, but at the same time there's not much texture to it. It's just a little bit of shiny, only a little bit. And it tints your skin pretty well, right? It's like tints pretty fast. So if you want like a tint that's like actually like tints your lips a lot, I think this could be it. And it does add a little bit glossiness as well. And I think the packaging is kind of fun. I don't know if this is like flower or anything. I think this is flower, but this kind of reminds me of food. You know, those in Chinese we call it shaomai, a type of dumplings, I think, and there's like a little corn on top. Every time I see this top, it reminds me of shaomai. This lip tint from ByUR, it's like just like the name, the water tint. I think this should be just translated to the water tint. It's basically just water. And it just adds color and it tints a lot. I didn't left this on that long either and see how much color it has, right? And I like the color as well, but these are not like groundbreaking colors. It's pretty like normal lip tint colors. You can find this color anywhere, but I do like this color and I like this watery type of formula. This type of formula for me is good to layer, like what I do as a daily lip combo. I put down a lip liner and then I put down some color with this type of tint and then I put a thick gloss on. So this type of stuff is my full lip combo routine, and that's why I choose this type of products. But yeah, it's pretty nice if you want something that just give you the tint, the color, and not the texture, like the glossy or whatever. This one is for you, and especially if you want a strong tint, I think this is good. I do like this, and the packaging reminds me of Dior perfume. Right, this look very Dior to me. It's very well made and it's very luxe. And that's all. My back kind of hurts. I've been sitting there for probably an hour or more than an hour trying all this stuff.